144 series, video number 6. Now we followed this month all the way through this waxing moon to a full moon, and now the moon is starting to wane. And most people understand, okay, the sun, and then the moon waxes, and then the moon wanes. Most people have a general concept of that. What people don't seem to understand is that the moon is waxing and waning while on a vortex, and the sun is moving on a vortex as well. Today is the 21st day, which is a waning moon. It's here in Leo, so it would be up here, and it's waning down towards the sun, which is down here now in Sagittarius. The sun is now moved through Scorpio and it's beginning Sagittarius. So now the moon is waning not only towards the sun, but waning on a vortex moving down the spiral. That light that the moon produces, the sun is drawing that dielectric light into it, which is why sometimes those crescents look in different spots. One I will just point out, called the bull horns. Here in Taurus, the moon's crescent will look like this because the sun is underneath it in Aries like this. This crescent changes depending on where the sun is on this vortex. Okay, so notice how it is, the crescent shape is this way. The bull horns, because the moon is in Taurus, the bull, and the sun is below it in Aries. So therefore, the rays of the sun, which is sound frequency, light, which is sound frequency, light is no more than a sound wave in the ether, says Nikola Tesla. Rays of the sun, or the sound frequency, is being picked up by the receiver, the moon, on the underneath part. So that's how the phasing works, and you'll start to see that once you understand this sky wheel. I was not able to get the waning crescent in Cancer, which would have been about a 3/4 like this. So this would have been the light here. I did get up in the middle of the night, 2, 3 in the morning, but unfortunately there were clouds and it was not visible. A lot of this going on right now. Screwing up my ability to see the moon at night. A lot of artificial clouds. With the start position in Sagittarius, this is what it would have looked like in Cancer. So each of these signs will get a chance to have every single phase. I do have a Cancer moon while the sun was in Cancer during a summertime. So I'm going to show you that video now. This is a Cancer moon with the sun in Cancer. It's almost directly over my head. It's a little sliver. It's gonna look slightly, it's gonna look upside down. The sliver is on the bottom. The telescope flips it, so it looks like it's on the top. Yeah, so there's my, like holding it up with my fingers because I had to tilt it so high. But it is right there in the left corner. Moves very fast, so it might be gone. The point is to get an idea of how high this moon gets when it's in Cancer. As you saw from the other videos, with the moon getting higher and higher over the house in Taurus and Gemini, it certainly continues to grow in height, and then it peaks out in Cancer and then starts to go back down again. And you notice that that was just like a 2-day crescent because it was right next to the sun there in Cancer. Okay, it's November 22nd. It's 4:30 in the morning. And right up here is the half waning moon. This is exactly the 21st day since the first crescent. It is in Leo, so it's starting to come back down that vortex again. But you can also notice that Leo is very high compared to this same tree. And it's going up over the top of the house there. Has a little bit further to go before the peak. And one note about waning moons is that they always rise before the sun. So it's 4:30 a.m. This is about 5 hours after its rise time. And then obviously the sun will rise in the east next around 6. And then tomorrow this will rise at probably like 5:20. Then it starts rising closer and closer to when the sun rises. And then when the sun rises, it'll rise together with the sun, and that's when it's at the black moon back in Sagittarius. So we have 7 more days, which is the first sign and also the 13th sign. So it repeats the first sign because this is the 21st day moon, half waning. So we have 7 more days until it returns to Sagittarius. There it is, Leo, 21st day, exactly half. It's now 5:10 and I wanted to get this a little bit closer to the peak for Leo. And there you go. Same 21st day, just a little bit later, 40 minutes. And now you see how much more. There's the same tree. You see how much higher it's gotten compared to the house. Taurus was in the same spot. However, Taurus was going up. And now this is Leo, and Leo's going down. So every sign gets to experience a first crescent. Every sign gets to experience a full moon. Every sign gets to experience a half waxing, half waning, etc. It all shifts through the cycles, shifts through the 12 signs. Now Enoch says, and the harmony of the world becomes complete every 364th state of it. So 364th state of it is the state of the sun. And then that's when the entire cycle is complete, because the moon is actually doing 354 days, which he explains later. So it's 10 days less than the sun. He goes on to say, for the signs, the seasons, the years, and the days. Now, when he says signs, signs mean months. So these are markers. A sign is a marker in the sky, a position where it goes from one gate to the next gate, to the next gate, to the next gate. And that's why he does call them gates. The seasons, we have our 4 seasons here on the wheel. The years, the entirety of the wheel, and the days. Because the days are also represented, one day is also represented on the wheel. Aries being the morning light, and Libra here being the setting light. This is a one-hand watch. Aries is here at the 6 a.m. the morning light. Noon will be here at the south sun, right there. The setting sun will be here at the 18. And then 80 degrees across from the south sun in the north, for me, is 0 light. And that's 0. That's midnight, no light. So this is the day system as well. For the signs, months. The seasons, 4. The years, the entirety of the cycle in 364 days, and the days. One day is also the same energy cycle. Morning light, evening light, mimicking spring, summer light, fall, winter light. Please watch video number 5 to understand why that word harmony and the word measure is important in Enoch's system, because he's not just explaining this movement, he's explaining also this musical instrument, and it beats in a measure like sheet music is written in measures. So video number 5 explains all that. So in case you're still confused if it's possible for there to be 13 months, let me read this to you. Enoch says, 12 gates I beheld in heaven at the extremities of the earth, through which the sun, the moon, and stars, and all the works of heaven proceed at their rising and setting. And what he's explaining in the 12 gates are these positionings. You got 6 going up the vortex, and 6 going down the vortex. And these are the extremities, which are the change in seasons here. So the 12 gates for the sun, the 12 gates for the moon, and the 12 gates for the stars, because the wandering stars also move between the tropics. So for example, when we say Pluto is now in Aquarius, what that means is Pluto is at this height in the sky. Has nothing to do with the constellation behind it, because the constellation behind it is going to shift, even though Pluto will be able to stay where it is for the next 20 years. We know that there's Jupiter, the wandering star Jupiter there, and right there is Uranus. Got a little alignment there. The wandering stars also travel between the tropics. So when they're in quote unquote certain positions, it is certain heights in the sky as they move on their own chariots, as Enoch likes to call this movement of luminaries chariots, kind of like a record player. They're on their own movement, going around and making a sine wave as they go around. So that sine wave up and down like this is them moving between the tropics. So we have the sun, moon, and stars making this sine wave between the tropics. So take this, and here's the Tropic Capricorn up to Tropic of Cancer. So the sun, moon, and wandering stars are doing this. So what are the constellations for anyway that bear these names? Well, they're named in honor of the positions of the sun in the sky, the heights of the sun in the sky. But in the clock of the universe, this is where the constellations come into play. This will be Aries constellation, Taurus constellation, Gemini constellation. This may have been where these constellations started at one point in time, but it's not where they exist now. And here's Pisces. What happened was these shift. So Pisces moves up here, Aries moves here, Taurus moves here, and Gemini moves there. So Pisces moved up here. What that means is Pisces, the constellation Pisces, rises on March 21st at the equator. And that means you're in the age of Pisces. So we'll probably be in the age of Pisces, probably another 200 years or something, because from my estimation, we still have quite a ways to go. We're leaving Pisces, but that could take some time. So then Aquarius then moves up this way. So eventually, the constellation Aquarius will move up to the equator, and then Pisces will be here, and so forth. It shifts. Because these stars are moving on their own chariot, where the wandering stars are moving between the tropics on their chariot, and the sun is moving between the tropics on its chariot, and the moon is moving between the tropics on its chariot. But the fixed stars and the constellations are just moving in a circle around. So they're moving in a circle around like this, while the wandering stars, planets, the moon, and the sun, they're moving between the tropics. Tropic Capricorn, Tropic Cancer, back down again to the equator, Tropic Cancer, equator, Tropic Capricorn. So they're constantly making a sine wave while moving in a circle, while going up and down on a vortex, mimicking a torus field. That's how that works. The constellations tell you the age of the universe. So how many times these constellations have gone around in rows at the equator on March 21st, under whatever calendar they were using, but at that spring moment when the sun was over the equator, which constellation, how many times did it go there, rise in that spot? I don't know. Everyone has a theory. It could have gone around 12 times. It could have gone around 24 times. I don't know. It's about 2,000 years per age.